there and happy holidays. It's another time of the week for the program, The Power Circuit, from the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. The management and staff of this public power utility company work daily to transmit bulk electricity while managing the national power grid. Today's episode promises to be informative as this special package highlights the journey so far in the power sector as the year draws to a close. You will get to hear the Minister of Power, Engineer Salim Maman, speak about how the power sector fared this year. This edition also showcases the efforts of the Acting Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of TCN, Engineer Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, towards enhancing the power transmission network. Engineer Abdulaziz has recorded much progress in just 6 months after he assumed office. Get to see all this in this specially packaged episode. I am Amara Agugoyesi. Be here with us as these reports unfold. As the year 2020 draws to a close, the Minister of Power, Engineer Salim Maman, says despite the coronavirus pandemic, the power sector recorded huge milestones. One of such is the multiple energy peak record attained on the national power grid in August and October 2020. Hear him speak more about these feats. Tell us about your vision and focal points for the power sector.
Well, first and foremost, let me just say it, the federal government under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari has launched a vision, 30-30-30, that is achieving 30 megawatts by 30 megawatt renewable energy, and then by the year 2030. Coming down to the Ministry of Power, when I assume office, I now also come up with my roadmap. 5 key focal areas. First is the alignment of the sector, the whole electricity value chain. That is aligning between generation, transmission, and distribution. And secondly, power access to unserved and underserved communities. Communities that have no light, communities that have light, but they are low voltage to improve. Number 3, market liquidity, that is to increase collection losses, that is technical and commercial, to improve collection. And then number 4, and legacy projects like Mambila, projects like Kashimbila, projects like Zongiro, to make sure that we complete these projects. And lastly, enhancing the coordination and the planning of the system planning of the governance.
You have spent over a year under this administration. What have been the major milestones so far?
Well, so far so good. We have achieved a lot. We have now try to align between distribution and transmission. We have achieved the highest peak so far, 3 instances. The first time, the second time, the third time. We have achieved peak that has not seen before. We have attained a peak that Nigeria have never witnessed such achievement before, up to 5,520 megawatts. So it's a great achievement so far. We're trying to sustain that supply that will now be affordable and then constant.
The national grid managed by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has recorded huge milestones, especially on peak power generation of recent. How do you feel about this?
They are improving. Before, they cannot transmit more than 4,000 megawatts. But today, I can tell you, TCN can transmit over 5,000 megawatts. It's a great achievement.
Honorable Minister, you're passionate about kickstarting the 3,050 megawatts Mambila hydropower project in Taraba State. What is the update so far?
I told Nigerians when I resumed newly into the office, there was nothing on ground, but As of today, I can tell you we have gone a little bit far. We have now entered a memorandum of understanding with the tribal state government, of which we did not do before. And surveyors are now in the field. They are all doing the survey. Both land and aerial survey is currently going on.
As the year ends, what are your expectations for the year 2021 in the power sector?
As we progress, by the year 2021, up to the end of our tenure, we intend to achieve a lot. Not less than 11,000 megawatts we wanted to achieve. So far we are going 5, and the PPI, the Presidential Power Initiative, led by the German governments, are coming to take over the alignment infrastructure. And they are coming to improve that capacity to 7,000, then to 11,000. By the year 2021, we expect to increase this capacity that I told you from 5,500 to up to 7,000 megawatts. We're expecting more commissioning any time, any moment. Even right now, I'm going to commission some of the projects before the end of this tenure through renewable energy.
In the coming years, should Nigerians expect to see more projects commissioning like the Katsina Wind Farm, the Dadenkwa Dam, and the Kashimbila Dam?
More capacity of generation. We are expecting more capacity generated to be transmitted through all these boosters, through all these transformers that we will just launch and open. That is to increase the capacity of supply that we have, so that people around the area can enjoy it. Issue of low voltage, issue of maybe investors coming to invest upon their companies or whatever, because of the 24 hours electricity that they will have around that area.
That is it on this exclusive interview with the Minister of Power, Engineer Salim Maman. You have heard the huge plans of the federal government towards building on the power improvement efforts in 2021. We hope to bring you more informative and exclusive information on this segment of the power circuits.
Did you know that our high-tension transmission cables were built to withstand high temperatures except artificially induced ones such as fire? Did you know that burning bush or refuse dumps by TCN transmission tower base or along the transmission line's right-of-way is an offense? Did you know that the fire can cause high-tension transmission lines to snap and fall to the ground, electrocuting living things within the line radius? Did you know that extreme fire can cause the legs of transmission towers to buckle, and that buckling of the main frame of a tower would lead to its collapse and may even pull down other towers along that transmission line's route, causing untold damage to the line? Now that you know, yes, now that you know, TCN is calling on all citizens of Nigeria to please desist from destroying our collective national investments. Be careful, do not set fire on trash or burn bush beside transmission towers or under electricity lines nationwide. Help us preserve the transmission grid and save the nation from blackout. TCN, transmitting electricity in the most efficient and effective manner.
At the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, the transmission of bulk power and efficient management of the national power grid are its focus. The implementation of this mandate was further demonstrated this year after the power sector attained multiple peak energy generation, with the transmission network evacuating all to distribution load centers. These and other milestones were recorded under a new management team led by the Acting Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of TCN, and a seasoned power transmission project specialist, Engineer Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz. Here is more reports on these milestone projects for the last 6 months.
It was in May 2020 when the federal government conveyed the appointment of Engineer Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz as the acting MD, CEO of TCN by President Muhammadu Buhari. 4 other members of the management team also got their appointment confirmed as executive directors. Engineer Abdulaziz immediately led his management team to swing into action, with the first being the hosting of members of the House Committee on Power at the TCN corporate headquarters in Abuja.
We are only here to ensure things are done properly. I will have to commend the TCN. So far you have been doing well, but there is still room for improvement.
Today is my first official meeting with you here in TCN corporate headquarters. as the new acting MD and CEO with my management team since our appointment by His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammad Buhari.
Shortly after, the TCN helmsman continued to lead his management team to multiple functions at the National Assembly, where he briefed the Senate Committee on Power during a public hearing and the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Investigation and Review of the Activities of the Nigerian Power Sector. The TCN management also conducted members of the Senate Committee on Power around some transmission projects in Abuja and the 2021 budget defense session before Senate Committee on Power and that of House Committee on Power. Engineer Abdulaziz, who was determined to improve the standards of the nation's power transmission assets, began implementing more action plans, especially as it concerns staff welfare and capacity building for both in-house engineers and the support staff of the company. The first of such actions was his town hall meeting with the staff of TCN at the Oshogbo Transmission Region in Osun State, where he charged the staff to increase their commitment to service.
This is my first visit outside Abuja, and why it is the first visit is because of the importance we put on Oshogbo.
The MD of the transmission company personally graced the commencement of the months-long pupillage training for 200 pupil engineers in Oshogbo. He had charged the engineers to make the best use of the training.
This training, however, is to reinforce all that you have learned over the last 1 year and also to prepare you to properly assume your roles as TN engineers.
Every organization requires effective coordination of its employees to get the best results. Cognizant of this at TCN, the MD of the company, Engineer Abdulaziz, along with other members of the management team, met with the leadership of the National Union of Electricity Employees, NUI, and the senior staff of electricity and allied companies, SIAC, to strengthen ties. The company under the present management has also prioritized capacity building for the officials, especially on the service improvement drive. As initiated by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NEC), a service level agreement (SLA) is to be signed between the Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN) and the 11 distribution companies (DISCOs). Yola Disco has already signed the SLA with TCN towards attaining the set goals, while some other DISCOs have signed with NEC. TCN has gone ahead to immerse staff under the System Operations subsection on the workings of the agreement and other ruling documents in the Nigerian electricity market. So far, training has been held across various regions on the SLA, starting with the Oshogbo region, Lagos, Abuja, Kaduna, Bauchi, Port Harcourt, and Enugu region, with more slated for the coming year. As the training and the effective coordination of staff continued, the new management of TCN did not leave out the field works and interactions with the state governors as well as the international development partners towards delivering on critical transmission projects. Engineer Abdulaziz has met with a couple of governors towards strengthening collaborations on transmission projects in the states. They include the Governor Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano State, Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi, Governor Umaru Fintiri of Adamawa State, among others. The management of TCN during the past 6 months also met with development partners and participated in various meetings of the West African Power Pool (WAP), in which Nigeria plays a significant role. Despite the COVID-19 setbacks, TCN is executing more projects across the 9 regions. One of such is the Abuja Transmission Ring that seeks to expand the transmission infrastructure by adding multiple power substations and a third transmission line route from Lafia aside the 330 kV Gwagwalada and Shiroro lines. The company also created 2 work centers for Katsina and Jalingo under its Kaduna and Bauchi regions to further decentralize its services to improve the company's operational efficiency. The Katsina Work Center has 3 transmission substations with 200 MVA energy capacity in Katsina, Kankia, and Daura on 132 kilovolts transmission level. The Jalingo Works Center in Taraba State receives supply through the Yola sub-region 132 kV transmission substation. It has 4 substations with 335 MVA energy capacity across Jalingo, Wukari, Takum, and Kashimbila. TCN has already swung into action in replacing old conductors on critical power transmission lines in the country. While the Lagos region of TCN commenced the exercise earlier in the year, the Shiroro region of TCN recently began processes to replace the 132 kilovolts bringing KB to Sokoto transmission line with an advanced conductor that can deliver more bulk electricity. The acting TCN head, who enjoys the support of the Minister of Power, Engineer Saleh Mamman, had inspected various projects, of which some were recently commissioned. He had inspected a 150 MVA capacity transformer at the Kombotso transmission station in Kano, which was then commissioned by the minister.
I want to assure people of Kano that with this commissioning now, we are going to have more robust study of electricity and in Kano and the environs.
This occasion is to commission a new 150 MVA transformer in Kombotso, which has been done by Electrical Solution. This is one of the things TCN is doing in order to expand the grid and make light more available to Nigerians, as it is in the policy of the federal government under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari to make sure that every Nigerian has light.
The 2x60 MVA 132-33 kV Gagarawa substation project in Jigawa State was earlier inspected by the Minister and Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar of the state and the acting MD of TCN. The Minister recently commissioned the substation in the heartwarming ceremony.
It is with great pleasure that I speak to you today on the occasion of the commissioning of 2x60 MVA 132-33 kV Gagarawa substation. No doubt today's event is yet another demonstration of the Muhammad Buhari's administration to reposition national energy sector for maximum performance.
This project have already seen some development around this area.
It will take care of suppressed load in Gagara and environs by delivering mobile electricity to some load centers of Kano Electricity Distribution Company, KEDCO, for onward transmission to consumers in Jigawa State and environs. With the commissioning of this project today, the following towns and areas will have considerable improvement in their power supply. That's Gagara local government, Tauro local government, Ringim local government, Gumi local government, and Miga local government.
The Minister of Power, Engineer Saleh Mamman, and the acting head of TCN, Engineer Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, were recently in Abia State, where they inspected 3 132-33 kilovolts power transmission substation projects that had been delayed. Already, the huge efforts of the new TCN management under Engineer Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, with the support of the Minister of Power, is beginning to yield results. The national power grid achieved an all-time power generation peak 4 times so far this year. The first all-time peak power generation of 5,377.80 megawatts was recorded on August 1, 2020. 2 weeks after, the peak of 5,420.30 megawatts of energy was attained at a frequency of 50.10 Hz. At 9:15 p.m. on August 18, 2020. The record has surpassed the previous peak by 42.50 megawatts. The national grid recorded the third all-time peak power generation of 5,459.50 megawatts at a frequency of 50.26 Hz by 8:15 p.m. on October 28, 2020. TCN said it efficiently transmitted the new peak load through the national bulk power transmission grid. Barely 2 days afterwards, precisely on October 30, 2020 at 9:15 p.m., the grid attained another all-time peak energy generation of 5,520.40 megawatts. This current national grid peak record surpassed the previous one by 60.90 megawatts. The results are glaring, with reactions following. Engineer Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz was appointed chairman of the executive board of the West African Power Pool, WAP. The appointment was made during the 46th meeting of the WAP board. Abdulaziz now leads the heads of power utility firms across the 16 member countries in the West African region.
I wish to thank all executive board members and honorary member, Engineer Mokoji, for giving me the opportunity to serve you as your chairman. Let me use this opportunity to assure all the WAP members of my total commitment to the overall objective of this regional electricity body.
He has so far chaired the 47th WAP board meeting, which held virtually in November 2020, and the 48th WAP board meeting, as well as the 16th General Assembly that held physically and virtually in Lomé, Togo, with some members joining through virtual connections. The Nigerian Society of Engineers, NSE, which is mindful of these achievements, recently recognized these efforts as it conferred on the Minister of Power and the acting head of TCN, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, FNSE Award, during its 16th Fellowship Conferment Lecture and Ceremony of the Society in Abuja. However, the NSE is not the only body that has done that. Another remarkable recognition was from the Nigerian Institution of Power Engineers, NIPE, which recently honored the TCN acting MD with a conferment of fellowship of the NIPE, along with the Executive Director Transmission Service Provider of TCN, Engineer Victor Adeumi. In spite of these achievements, the management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, is not resting on its laurels. To this end, the acting head of TCN, Engineer Abdulaziz, told pressmen recently during a press conference that as a project management specialist, a lot is being done to move the company to greater heights.
As you have seen recently, we have commissioned Gagara substation. More are coming. We have finished Ogba in Lagos, Ikeja West, Akure will soon come, Katsina substation, and a lot of them. So our projects are now moving.
That is it on the journey so far in the Nigerian power sector, as led by the Minister of Power, Engineer Salim Maman, in particular the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, led by the acting MD CEO, Engineer Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, and his management team. TCN seeks the support of the public towards protecting the massive power transmission assets it is delivering across states to help towards improving the power supply experience of Nigerians. You can do your bit always by keeping vigil over these power facilities and reporting suspicious activities to the nearest security outlets.
Verify that land before you buy it. To drastically reduce the incidence of building under the transmission right-of-way or encroaching on designated TCN land, members of the public are hereby requested to verify land near or along transmission line route before purchasing it. Verification should be made in the Land Development Authority or at the TCN office. This would help in drastically reducing the incidence of building under transmission line right-of-way and save us all the problem of pulling down the structure or truncating transmission line expansion projects in your community due to court injunction. Help us serve you better. Verify that land before you buy it.
Thank you for always being with us on the Power Circuit program. Don't forget to view this episode and others on the TCN YouTube channel. You can always give feedback to TCN through these platforms to improve on the course of delivering its mandate. Remember that the second wave of the coronavirus is here. In spite of the festivities and holidays, ensure you keep safe and observe the safety protocols in place by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, and other authorities. I am Amara Agugesi. Enjoy the holidays.